Hi, I'm Dice Queen D. I like tabletop RPGs and Calliope, obviously. I really missed Callie's originals. Her covers are amazing. That girl one was like, the girl one with King was godlike, but it's really nice to really cover these original songs of hers because they're so loaded with meaning and subtext and context and all of the other texts, the secret sacred texts. Anyways, let's get on to talking about end of life. This is kind of reaction video, but also it's not because it's more of analysis because I am a nerd. Let's go. Yeah, and start. Whoa. Okay, I'm already pausing right now real quickly. The most important thing I think about this very beginning is the we. The first thing that I think is really important about this entire the thing is that she's referring to we. So she is not talking necessarily about her. She is talking about herself, but she is very. But by saying we, she's indicating that she's talking either about another person, or another idea, or other things about her. The we is super important here. Anyways. Right through those nights, I'll never find my way back to you. Inside this labyrinth of light, there was madness in the meaning. Never laughed less, we were screaming. Callie is very much known to love Japan. She at a very young age, she was interested in Japan, and she took that job at Demon Applebee's in order to go to Japan, visit Japan. The focus on the passport here, I think, is really pivotal because it, at the very beginning of the song, it's talking very much about how it's her relationship with Japan or people in Japan or various other things about it. This is a story about travel or places she's been, the places she's done. A passport is a record of places you've been and experiences you've had. I think that's a really important like focus, especially the fact that it's so zoomed in here. It really stands out. At the top of our lungs to the numbness, this city never died. I'll fly no through those heights. I'll never find another chance to say thanks for saving my life. I was hopeless, it was stinging, running roadless. We were singing at the top of our lungs to the numbness, this city never died. What was the root of it all? I couldn't. So, an important thing to emphasize here is Callie does tend to say I couldn't say for elements where she shouldn't say or won't say about something. So maybe she doesn't necessarily know the root of the problems that she's going to be talking about in this video, but also when she says it like this, she also kind of emphasizes, oh, I couldn't say it anyways. Used to jump in the fall, rugged and cliched. Would shrug it off without complaint, not a sound. I used to try to find friends, cause in the end nobody sticks around. It's when you shove. So something that she also does tends to talk about is something that she cares about is this cliche, this idea of, you know, you fall 1,000 times, you get back 1,001. When she talks about how she used to jump in the fall, rugged and cliched, would shrug it off without complaint, not a sound. She's used to failure. She's used to failing a lot in her life and having to get back up. And she never complained about it because, you know, that was like part of her life. That was just the thing about her. It's a very strong mentality, I think, as a content creator, as a rapper. Maybe I'm not a rapper, I wouldn't know, but as a content creator, it's very much, you know, you're gonna fail this stream, you're gonna fail that video, and you just have to keep going. You don't have room to complain. You just have to keep going. You just have to push. And this is talking about that kind of mentality. Even now, probably, who knows? Yourself into a crowded place that you turned around and found yourself in love in outer space. Cute reckless nights, no strings, laughing at our own dreams. Just what the hell was so funny? Back up the wrong tree, stumble, used to fall in great heights amidst a concrete jungle, singing cause it felt right. We mixed the ennui and troubles, rhyming our discontent to know its history. I can't forget the time that though it's history, I can't forget the time we spent. She's still definitely talking about like her past here. She's talking about friends that she's had in Japan, people that she's met, perhaps a circle of friends that she was able to spend time with. But it's very obvious with the week at the very beginning and this line here. She is talking about people. It's not just to herself. There are elements in the song where she does talk to herself and talks about herself, but there is a strong emphasis that this is about multiple people.
Convinced that this could mean another end exists between real and pretend. Twisted altered fiction where I miss my chance and not ascend, disappearing into the mist. It never happened is the me that I can never befriend. I let it go.
I think this is also one of the more important bars of the song. Convinced this could mean another end exists between real and pretend, a twisted alter fiction where I miss my chance did not extend, disappearing into the mist that of never happened is the me I can never befriend. I let it go.
Another end exists between real and pretend, twisted alter fiction.
She is talking about an alternative timeline, an alternative life,
Where I miss my chance.
where she didn't succeed. She was not able to join Hololive, did not ascend, become this monolith, this identity,
Not ascended, disappearing into the mist.
and disappearing to the mist that never happened.
Happened is the me that
The me I can never befriend, I let it go. The person in that alternate world, the one that didn't ascend, the one that kept all of those elements of her past life, the one that did not ascend going into the higher realms, is the person that she can't befriend, a person she potentially doesn't necessarily even understand. So a thing about Callie is she talks about this in her streams, but she used to very much dislike the idea of idol rappers, like idols. She didn't understand idols, idol culture, pop, things like that. Things you have to do for popularity. She didn't like any of that. She was very much checked out. And that version of her would be incredibly critical of her now, being all of these things that she was critical of. Engaging on social media, Twitter, becoming an idol. It's complicated. And that person, that version of her that she can't be friends with,
I can never befriend. I let it
she let it go.
go. Fade in, fade out. This crazy dream without a direction, floating aimlessly. There's nothing left back there.
This was a really sad line. Without a direction, flowing aimlessly, there's nothing back there left for me. And it's just, my personal read of that line is, and it's going to be emphasized a bit more later, but whatever life that she had back then is not something that she can really go back to. There's nothing left there for me. It means either one, there's nothing else that you can get from those relationships, that friendship, that meaning that you had between people. It's just too different. And she can't go back to it. But it won't stop her being sad about it. It really fade in, fade out, that crazy dream. Talking about the various dreams that she's had back then. She also kind of talks a little bit like about that daydreaming in the song, and it kind of emphasizes that when she like reminisces about the past, it almost feels so distant, like a dream.
Stop the rain from pouring.
But was there ever a soul inside? I will get back to that line later on in the song. I will get back to this. It's really important. This is a really important line, but we'll get back to it later.
Chasing fireflies between the soaring high rises, left a trail behind to find a wasted time of our lives. Silent singer, overworked and underpaid, inks and opposites, a coffin until office time of our lives.
A silent singer, overworked and underpaid. She notably had a history where she had to just be like a regular worker, and she wasn't able to really produce the music that she wanted or cared. She worked way too hard, she got paid too little, and she could barely survive. And honestly, it was really difficult for her. God, silent singer, Jesus. To have a song you can't really like scream out there, you know?
Singer, overworked and underpaid, inks and opposites, a coffin until office where you're laid. Yet a thought persistent optimist who ought to be afraid. Saw them nothing wrong in writing songs behind the lonely.
Hi, Dave from the future. Something I didn't get to say later on to the video, but I think is really important here is that there's this connection that alludes to the red string of fate, kind of there's this connection from the music that Callie's listening to her MP3 player, and it kind of like indicates that there's like an important connection between these two things. So I don't think Callie's egotistical enough to listen to her own music and be all introspective like this. So the question is, whose music is she listening to? What music shaped her? What changed her? What's really important in her life? That's the question. Anyways, bye! So this is probably one of the most important bars for this song. A thought persists, an optimist who ought to be afraid. Despite this entire song about letting go and acceptance, she does talk very much about this person, a thought persistent optimist who ought to be afraid. So this is a part of her that like lingers on from the past. She's still a dreamer. She's still an optimist. And she thinks she should be more afraid. Saw the nothing wrong in writing songs behind the lonely shade. Writing songs when she was just lonely? Not really sure about that one.
Writing songs behind the lonely shade. If the world is sadder place without the words that you.
But she does question about this whole mentality of writing songs that no one really listens to. Is the world a sadder place with the words you conveyed? Would anyone really care if these certain songs never came out? And I think this is what she's questioning here. If she never released the songs, would the world really be that bad? Would it like it's kind of like this is more like a self-doubt and criticism of the kind of like music maybe she didn't release or couldn't release or would have released?
Conveyed when the ladder fell and shattered every bar that we.
Especially when it came to, now here's where I think COVID really comes into this. Kelly talks about how in Japan, after COVID, the rap scene in Japan really ground to a halt, i.e. almost died. When the ladder fell and shattered every bar that we played. When the momentum that she had moving forward just broke. And people ended up forgetting your music, ended up not being able to hear your music. And also bar can refer to the rap bars, but also the places that she played in. So COVID really came into effect around like March, April. She found calliolive around March, April-ish. I'm not really certain about that time frame there, but there was an entire summer prior to debuting that she was probably still trying to get involved in the rap scene, but you just couldn't do anything because COVID locked up everything. The scene quieted up and died. What songs could you have released? What songs could you have heard when everything was closed?
It played, does it matter in the end? The sound diminished and decayed, and your friends grew tired of fantasy. You're wishing they had stayed. You don't get to say I miss you. You watch your heroes fade into the rear view mirror of the villain you portray.
So I think this is actually the most important bar in this entire song. This is the most important bar in the entire song, I think. Does it matter in the end the kind of songs that you played when the sound just diminished and went away? And your friends grew tired of the fantasy. Your friends grew tired of the dream. I think this refers to how some of her friends in the rap scene ended up quitting because of COVID. They couldn't continue rapping. They couldn't continue following the dreams, the fantasy of, being popular or, getting your song heard, getting your voice heard. It was a fantasy. And so when she overall questions Does any of this matter? Did the friendships even matter? Did the songs even matter? Did that life matter when everything that you did kind of just faded away into the background? I don't think she's absolutely saying that it doesn't matter, but I think she's questioning it because that's just how her self-doubt manifests.
You don't get to say I miss you. You watch your heroes fade into the rear view mirror of the villain you portrayed.
You don't get to say I miss you. So in this one, I think she's actually particularly talking to herself, not necessarily about herself. You don't get to say I miss you. You watch your heroes fade. The ones you are not allowed to say I miss you to those people. That she's saying to herself. You watch your heroes fade. The ones that she really exalted and she considered heroes faded back into the rear view mirror. As I said before, she really had this idea of the kind of things that she didn't like, idols, yada, yada, yada. And she ended up becoming a villain, not only to herself, but also to friends. This is where I kind of really emphasize that this is kind of part of the she had to burn her bridges mentality. She ended up having to do something she wasn't happy with, that made her think that she was a villain. She wasn't proud of it at all, but she did something. We're not really sure what, but an event happened that she very much regrets.
The pity party, listen, you don't get to be dismayed. You don't get to be emotional. You're blessed you got it made. These the best of years of life because you chose to make a trade. Recollect the days you hoped and you prayed for this. What is that a man?
Another very important bar, immediately after the last one. Stop the pity party, listen, you don't get to be dismayed.
Listen, you don't get to be dismayed. You don't
She's still talking to herself. You don't get to be dismayed. You don't get to be emotional.
get to be emotional. You're blessed you
Feel blessed that she achieved her dreams and she got like lucky. Like she is talented. Absolutely, she's talented and she's got skill, but you know, everything success is, you know, talent meets skill meets luck and opportunity. This is the most important, the second most important part, or maybe another important part. There's a lot of important parts. She's really good at this.
got it made. These the best of years of life.
These the best of years of life. She very much refers here, I think, to how Hololive has greatly improved her life in general. Because before she lived in a shitty apartment, a tiny apartment where she couldn't afford a desk and she had to crouch on the floor playing on her computer. But now she has a good apartment. She has a good bed. She eats good food. Hololive has greatly improved her life. It has made her life better. Absolutely. She's in a much better place than she ever was. So she's questioning herself, why are you even allowed to feel sad? You shouldn't feel sad. You shouldn't feel bad. You should, because you don't get to feel bad about all these things because you have it so good. You know? You don't get to, is she saying to herself.
Because you chose to make a trade. Recollect the days you hoped and you prayed.
Recollect the days you hoped and prayed for this. This is everything you wanted. These are all the dreams you wanted. You've achieved what you wanted.
For this, what is that a mess?
What do you have to miss about the past? When all you wanted was this.
Fade in, fade out. This is a dream without a direction. Going aimlessly. There's nothing left back there for me. Pretend it's the end of a made-up story.
So she talks again here. There's nothing left back there for me. Pretend it's the end of a made-up story. I think because she's not using a pronoun here, she's not using I, me, you. She's not using a reference. This kind of is an ambiguous. It's specifically ambiguous, which is a word which is a phrase I love to attribute to Callie. She is ambiguous on purpose here. Pretend it's the end of a made-up story. I think she's talking to multiple folks here. One, she's either talking to herself, which refers to maybe that history of mine that I had, maybe it's a made-up story. Maybe that was just a dream. Maybe that's something I thought about. Maybe that entire life was just some fantasy I had. Or she's also talking to the viewers that might know a little bit more about her. And she's saying, pretend the song is just the end of a made-up story, and I'm not actually talking about anything. It's a really tricky mix-up here. She's definitely mixing you up on purpose. I'll never find another chance to say, hey, thanks for saving my life. I was hopeless. It was stinging, driving roadless. So an element I really wanted to focus here on is one, she is saying thank you to somebody. We're not certain who about her life. She's saying, hey, like she didn't have a goal. She was driving roadless and her life is rough. It was hard. And she's saying, hey, thanks for saving my life to somebody. An important element here that I really want to focus on is from where the MP3 is to where I feel this is kind of a reference to almost even to the red string of fate that's really common in Japanese culture. It's the idea that you are connected like by a soul to some like someone else's soul. It's like a soulmate thing, but not really. And the red and that red fate was music. And the question here is, whose music is she listening to? Do you think she listens to her own music a lot? I think when she says, hey, thanks for saving my life, I was driving roadless. She's referring that someone out there helped her. Someone saved her. Someone's music saved her and helped her. And something that she really cared about. But she'll never find another chance to say it because of that burned bridge theory. You know?
We were singing at the top of our lungs to the numbness. This city never died. I'll say goodbye to the soul inside.
And so because Callie had control over the music video this time, like she do know she did make this music video. So everything that's being placed in the music video, from the zoom ins to the fade outs, are all on purpose. Right here, when she talks about, I'll say goodbye to the soul inside, and then you see all these like gray things in the background, I think she's really trying to say right here that these are things that are or were a part of her soul, and these are lines that she is giving up. These are all, if you want to hear Callie's soul more than ever, these are things that, well, maybe it's not accurate anymore because she specifically said, I'll say goodbye to the soul inside. But these are things I theorize that she's said and she's thought and she's felt, either to herself or have spoken to another person. We'll run so fast till a school chime till a train runs. We know it's time we're the same ones. We've got no chance in this light maze. We have no chance in Japan. No chance of succeeding, but we'll be happy with each other. Together.
I'll keep waiting for you.
Before I continue on here, I just wanted to say that there's some people I know that didn't actually go past this part of the song because they thought that was the end of it, and so they never actually heard the final verse. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The final verse is one of the most important parts about this entire fucking song. Well, it's one of the most important parts of the song. Faded passport.
Waking up now to my real life.
So,
Let me daydream. So the next flight, drowning so long. I got older. Now the crowd's gone. Is it over? Is it over?
So here I think is really important because this entire song she's been singing kind of in a little bit like a lower register. So it's a little bit softer, a little bit more gravelly, like she's like sleeping. So listen very carefully when she says waking up now. And then compare to the next line.
Waking up now to my real life.
When she says to my real life, it actually goes up a little bit in register. Is this just some like something that happens because you like record each line individually, or is this like a very explicitly stating her real life is this little higher register? Who she is now, right? Like as Callie, is that who she is now? And everything else was just like a faded dream back in the past? Listen again.
Waking up now to my real life.
It's like a little bit clearer, a little bit softer, a little bit more higher pitched.
Let me daydream. So the next flight, drowning so long, I got older. Now the crowd's gone. Is it over? Is it over?
Drowning so long, I got older. Now the crowd's gone. Life was drowning back then, but I got older. I got better, but the crowd's missing. And there, and in this entire song, there's also been like a lot of references to people like in an audience, the clubs, the bar. There's also a reference where she used to talk a little bit about now how that she's a reaper, she can't go out to these club scenes anymore. She said that in her stream a couple times that she just can't because of who she is now.
Got older, now the crowd's gone. Is it over? Is it
She can't go back.
over?
When she questions herself here, saying, "Is it over?" I think she's not saying it is over. She's explicitly saying, "Is it over?" And she hopes that it isn't. She's wondering if it's gone. But the person who she was, that soul that was left inside of her, it's not there anymore. It's gone. She's a different person now. The person that can't be friends with her old self. And in a way, by saying you can't be friends with your old self, you might not be able to be friends with the same people that your old self was friends with too. If she wants to make friends again with those people, with whatever group that she had before, with the people that she cared about, it has to be with as Callie, and that's a different engagement entirely. Not being able to go up because people will recognize her, do things. It's rough. It's hard. She's a very distinctive voice. It's just, yeah, that's it. This is the end of an era for her. This is the end of a story, end of a life. It is very much a massive reference to the past. Anyways, I think that's everything I have to say. Thank you very much for sticking around for this 30-minute freaking video. Good lord. Hey everybody, I'm DiceQueenD. I like tabletop RPGs, and you can catch me on Twitch or YouTube. I might move on to YouTube, who freaking knows. But you can catch me on Twitch or Twitter at DiceQueenD. DiceQueendi. I mean, it's right in my description. Freaking just go there. Bye everybody. Thank you very much. Yeet. Did I have said yeet?